Did you know, for example, 1 in 12 school children don't know who's on top of Nelson's column? The clue is in the name, Trevor Nelson. 32% of old people don't want to live. Tell you what, old people, you're in luck. 80% of women find men with cool cars attractive, which goes some way towards explaining why the last Pope got so much poontang. Right, let's get started. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. Sean.
Well, I imagine they've been talking about the announcement of the Live 8 gig, which is due to coincide with the G8 summit, isn't it, in July? You know, the G8 summit where the 8 most powerful nations all get together in a room and go, everything's going great, isn't it?
I don't know what the 9th most powerful country is, but I bet they're livid.
Yeah. And they're doing a big... Bob Geldof's doing a big gig to draw attention to this, and he's been in some trouble with encouraging school kids to take a day off school.
Is he encouraging them to take Mondays off by any chance?
He's called for 1 million people to march to Edinburgh. I mean, I think, you know, this is a country facing a massive obesity crisis. I mean, getting someone to march to their newsagents is impossible enough.
But most of the kids who bunk off go, yeah, I'm going to Edinburgh, and they won't. They're going out to the park and try and get a bottle of cider, you know. Put the hooded tops up and throw scaffold tubes at hearses. That's what they do.
Well, let's have a look and see if Live 8 is up on our list. Yes.
Oh, good.
You're absolutely right. 48% of people were talking about Live 8. It was a huge talking point this week. I don't know if you've seen the incredibly powerful commercial where a child dies every time famous people click their fingers. I couldn't help thinking, stop clicking your fingers. Last night I went to a restaurant. I killed 2 kids just getting the bill. Dave, over to you. What do you think people have been talking about this week?
Big Brother is back. It's sort of indicative of the way the programme's going, that the second most important statistic they give you now when it comes on is the bust size. It's the breast size, isn't it? It's like Saskia, 34FF. But they don't do it for... They don't do it for the blokes, do they? They don't do Anthony, 3.5 inches, on the slack.
I haven't seen much of it because I've been quite busy this week counting my rice. But the bits I've seen, I mean, you were talking there about the amount of large-breasted ladies. I was watching the sound down. It looked like Benny Hill made a rap video. It's fantastic.
Well, let's have a look and see if Big Brother is on our list of the most talked about things this week. It is. Big Brother was always... Let's face it, Big Brother was always going to be in our top 5. They've introduced infrared cameras in the house. We're excited about the prospect of some nocturnal activity. Bill Oddie hopes to see a badger. Fingers on buzzers. Buzz in if you think you know what the people have been talking about this week.
Japanese soldiers thought World War II was still going on. They emerged somewhere.
Oh, yes. I can tell you that was the 8th most talked about thing this week. 2 Japanese servicemen have emerged from the jungle and are said to be shocked that the war is over. They were even more shocked when Ant and Dec said, let's have a look at some of your funniest moments. 17% of British women are kept awake each night by what?
17% of British men.
Richard Madeley.
Yeah, they're there tossing and turning.
Yeah. Is it ecstasy?
I think it's a gentle but insistent prodding in their lower backs.
Come on, it's quite an obvious one.
The children.
Is it snoring?
You are absolutely 100% right. 17% of British women are kept awake by their partner snoring. If your partner does snore, one way you can deal with it is to gently roll them over. Do it 3 times, they're out the bed, problem solved. If you were to count up every hot dog sold outside football grounds in Britain on a Saturday, chances are your nickname's Rain Man. 40,000 Americans are injured in the toilet every year. Most accidents are from people slipping on a wet floor. Just goes to show you've got to look out for number 1. Half of all the people who have ever smoked have now stopped. Sounds good, but when I say stopped, a lot of them have died. Let's get started. Dave, your team to go first. What have the nation been talking about this week?
Well, around our way, it's been this smoking ban. I think the government reneged on the deal again, where they said that it was going to be a partial ban, I know they've changed their mind and it's a full ban. They were going to have, like, designated areas in pubs, weren't they, for smoking? And to my mind, that's like having a swimming bath with designated urinating areas.
They have banned it in some American cities, haven't they? Do you approve?
Well, as I live here, I couldn't give a fuck about what goes on back
There are times you really fancy a cigarette, and it's going to be quite tricky. Like, you know, if you just cheated death in an air disaster, you really want to have a cigarette then?
I reckon they'll let you.
Yeah, do you reckon?
If you've just cheated death in an air disaster.
Yeah. But you won't care anyway, will you? Just go, piss off.
Yeah.
I think put that plane out.
Are you saying, like, if your seat somehow gets thrown out of the plane into a pub?
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look and see whether the smoking ban is one of the top 5 most talked about things this week.
Get in.
Yes, it is. Interestingly, the ban on smoking will not apply to Wales, which is one more reason to visit Wales, which brings the total to 1. We've got 2 more to get. Buzz in if you think you know what the nation have been talking about.
Is it the US Vice President going out hunting and shooting his mate? Which is really funny. I mean, he said, I'm mistooking for a quail.
Then he went, did you see the size of that fucking quail?
It's a shame you didn't go with Bush, though, isn't it? Just, that would have been nice if he'd shot Bush. That would have been perfect. If George Bush had popped out of a bush and he'd blown his stupid face off.
Now, Reg, you're an American man. Have you been hunting?
No, I've never been hunting. I've been in the forest with a gun, but...
Don't threaten me, Reg.
I was doing something else, though.
I do think you shoot quails, because when I went on hunting, they only said that you shoot ferrets, rabbits.
You went hunting?
You sure you weren't working for Rent-A-Kill?
No,
You weren't hitting rats with a shovel?
and I'm going to go to shoot the ferrets.
You're going to go and shoot ferrets?
In the season.
In the season? Is there a season for shooting ferrets?
That's what they said.
Do you mean pheasants?
Pheasants!
Right, shall we have a look and see if Dick Cheney shooting someone in the face is one of the top stories this week? Yes, it is. Yes, 52% of you were talking about American Vice President Dick Cheney shooting a lawyer in the face in the woods outside Dallas. 60% of air passengers have had problems with what?
The pilot. I just judged this on one incident where I was flying recently to Alicante and we got up to 35,000 feet. He came on and went, pilot Captain Johnson speaking, reached our cruising altitude, 35,000 feet, on the way to Alicante. Weather en route's fine. Shit! That was it. And we sat there like... He came back on and he went, I'm really sorry, I might have scared some passengers. And what happened was, in the middle of my announcement, the stewardess brought me a coffee and spilt it on me. And that was all he was. I'm sorry. And he said, you want to see the front of my pants? And some bloke at the back went, you want to see the back of mine?
I don't think the seats would be a problem. Like especially like in America, like say for instance, you got a fat ass. And in America, a lot of people got a fat ass, and I would think that the seats would consistently be a problem over there. But I've seen a few people over here, and they seem like, well, I've seen a lot of fat people, but they ain't got no fat ass. I don't know how they do that.
Reg, that's exactly the right answer. It is 60% of air passengers have had problems with their seat. The main problem being it's next to a man whose shoe is ticking. And the winner is the name of our final round. I'm going to give the teams a series of opinion polls, and it's up to them to buzz in and tell me who or what they think came top. Here is your first one. Top thing men look for in a pub.
I think the top thing I would look for in a pub is a door. I always want to first see, how do I get in? And then I would like a fine selection of organic wines and world music on the jukebox.
Stop it, you. Ruth, what do you look for in a pub?
Normally the bar.
It is drink-related.
Good selection of lagers, beers.
Oh, doubles offer. Two
Happy
doubles.
hour,
Two
happy
doubles
hour.
for a
Happy
pound.
hour is the right answer. Ruth is going again.
Yes! Come on! Some price in a beer, that's the same.
Yes, the top thing men look for in a pub is happy hour. Most unlucky thing that can happen to you.
Is it leaving war-torn Basra, having sex with a minging immigration officer, then being rehomed in Nottingham?
That is significantly worse than what I've got down here, but this is... You've got to remember, this is a survey by Direct Line.
The unluckiest thing I've ever heard it happen to anybody. Do you ever hear this story about... This is true story. Fabio, the male model. You ever heard of Fabio? He was this male model, lived in Hollywood, and he had loads of, he was on loads of posters in the 80s, thick hair. He was on... This is a true story. He was on a roller coaster in Disney World, and he was hit in the face with a goose. A goose. He's going on this roller coaster. He's one of the best-looking men in the world, and a goose hit him in the face and ruined his career, smashed all his face to smithereens.
Yeah, that was unlucky for him. What about the goose?
The goose got in the papers. Most geese don't get in the papers.
On a similar note, very completely true story. Aristotle, the great thinker, he died, Aristotle, when a hawk or an eagle was carrying a tortoise that it had taken from the ground for food. It dropped the tortoise, it fell 10,000 feet and hit Aristotle on the head. Which means that one of the most cleverest men in the world, in that flash of insight just before he died, thought, I've just been hit on the head by a tortoise. That was his last thought, a great man.
Yeah. Probably thought, tortoises are heavy. Let's write that down.
Oh. It's to do with kind of homes and, something that might happen in your home.
Is it your house being flooded?
Oh, plumber
It's to do with flooding, but something else as well?
You've just decorated, you've just painted, you've just put a
That's the
carpet
right
down.
answer, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, according to this survey from Direct Line, the most unlucky thing that can happen to you is your house flooding after you've decorated it, unless you've decorated it in the style of a fantasy mermaid kingdom, in which case it's the icing on the cake. Well, that noise tells me it's the end of the round and the end of the game, which means the final scores are Sean, David and Ruth have 6 points, but Dave, Ulrika and Alan have 9 points. They're the winners. Half of Britain's school children don't know where ham comes from. Birmingham. Let's get started. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the British public's top 5 most popular talking points. Dave, Johnny, Rob, what have the nation been talking about this week?
Snow. The worst blizzards in Scotland for 10 years or something. 5,000 houses without power, wasn't it? Glasgow airport shut. That cold. A bloke in Glasgow with a coat on. That cold. That cold. There is a serious message, because it is cold. If you know an old person who lives near you, on their own, nip round, pop in, use their heating. They get an allowance off the government.
Do people really talk about the snow, though?
Oh, yeah.
Ring up north. They're all talking about it up there.
Christian, have you got any idea what's going on?
I can't understand a word they're saying. Straight though.
Even me? I just need your PIN number.
All right.
For a good cause.
Okay.
We love the snow in the north, though, don't we? Actually love the snow. As soon as it comes down, we're out there, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Come again?
We love the snow. We love the snow.
The Pope's coming.
No, we're not moving on to that until we've covered snow.
It's white. It's basically a hard version of rain. I when he passed me test 5 months ago, I didn't know you had to take it off the windscreen. To me, it was a magical adventure into Narnia.
Let's have a look and see if snow is one of the top 5 talking points this week. Yes, it is.
Hey. So excited.
Yes, everyone's been talking about the cold weather bringing parts of the country to a standstill this week. During the cold snap, gas prices have more than doubled. On the upside, it looks like the pension crisis might be over. Sean, Christian, Slater and Lauren Laverne, what have the nation been talking about?
Let's see, the Garrick Theatre, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know.
I think they've been talking about the scandal of the Labour Party selling peerages for cash. Selling peerages, which is, I think it's very strange, is that selling membership to a club which they've said they're going to disband quite soon. It seems a bit stupid. Do you want to join our club? Yeah, we are getting rid of it quite soon.
You could be Sir Christian Slater for 10 grand.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
That's all it
about
costs.
$1 million. It's about $1 million.
It's about $1 million. Oh, forget it.
Well, I thought about doing that because you could take out, you could borrow £1 million, lend it to the Labour Party at the same interest rate you're paying, right? And then you're a lord, and when the bank phone up for the money, you go, do you have any idea who you're speaking to?
£500,000 Michael Flatley paid just to be Lord of the Dance. If he'd have paid a bit more, he could have used his arms. He didn't pay enough, that's it.
Well, let's have a look and see whether Labour selling peerages is one of the top 5 stories this week. Yes, it is. Yes, Labour have been accused of selling peerages by exploiting a loophole where they accept loans instead of donations. They've been defended by a number of leading peers, Baroness Claims Direct, Sir Ocean Finance and the Earl of Cornhill. But most embarrassingly by Lord Archer. Time for What's the Poll? I'm going to show you 5 people who were all popular answers on the same poll. All our panellists have to do is tell me, what's the poll? Here is your first one.
And the relationship between Mary and this dog is sensational to watch. Oh, this is delightful. And it's almost telepathic. She's using mostly just little signals, not commands. Oh, stunning. Wonderful. What a performance.
What poll do you think dogs might have appeared on?
Is this dogs with specs or just dogs in general?
A friend of mine had a dog, and this is true, it's got a lisp, this dog. And when it barks, it goes like this, it goes, rouse! And then it developed a stammer, and it goes, rouse!
The dogs are a man's best friend, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is it something to do with a poll of best friends who have at one time or another shit in your kitchen?
No. OK, let's have a look at the next person on the poll.
I didn't move! I didn't move! I didn't move!
Athlete John Drummond there getting upset to illustrate the Olympics. What poll do you think might have featured the Olympics and dogs?
Is it things that postmen hate? Because postmen hate dogs, and they hate the Olympics.
Why?
Well, the Olympic Village, they go there, and it's just, you know, Saeed Asu Warawara, and they've just got to go and find him, haven't they? You ever seen a postman in Olympic Village? Just...
Dogs are going to be allowed into the Olympics. Swimming.
I'd like to see a 24-hour Vic Reeves news channel.
You're in luck.
Yeah.
I actually thought I was appearing on Eat Out of Tin Cans. Well, we would just have to eat out of tin cans and enjoy it for half an hour. That's why I went on this show.
Let's have a look at the next person on the list.
She knows hubby has to work hard, but if only he could be in punctually sometimes. Ah, there he is now. She's heard it plenty of times before, but she actually believes that stuff about being kept at the office.
No, I won't work too hard. I'll be home as soon as possible. Ah, that was the phone. I must go now. Goodbye, darling.
Mobile phones there. Television companies have been accused of profiting from mobile phone voting. If you want to hear the punchline to that joke, text moron to the number on your screen now. What poll do you think mobile phones, the Olympics and dogs might have appeared on?
I know. David Beckham, he did a telephone advert.
Yeah?
Football is going to be in the Olympics, and
yeah.
Beckham rides a dog when he comes on the pitch.
It was so good, but he sort of fell down on that third one, I felt. OK, let's have a look at the next person.
Milo! A snake! A snake? Where? In the garden. You didn't touch it, did you? No, I didn't. Oh, good. Where is it now? I don't know. I left Doodles with it. Doodles? It's probably eaten Doodles.
That was the tweenies.
The tweenies are pretty terrifying. Yeah. They look sort of like a normal family that live under a mobile phone mast.
Children like dogs, the tweenies, the Olympics and mobile phones.
Let's have a look at the next thing on the list.
To be attractive, you just have to know that you are and just be happy with yourself no matter what you look like. And then you'll be attractive because everybody's beautiful.
Paris Hilton there. What poll do you think they all might have appeared on?
I think, is it things that they've got other names for? Like she's got a Paris Hilton, her real name's Reading Travel Lodge. Olympics, a lot of people just go, Olympics, innit? Can I have the points?
I think Paris Hilton is the big clue here.
So she had sex on the internet, and the tweenies have had sex on the internet.
Is it things people have been searching for on the internet?
Yeah, Frankie Moore, that's the correct answer. They all appear on a poll of the most searched words on the internet. The next round is Believe It or Not. In this round, I give the panellists a simple statement. All they have to do is decide whether they think it's true or false. Sean, Johnny and Peter, let's have a look at a clip to illustrate your statistic. That was from the 1957 B-movie The Brain from Planet Arus. Your related statistic is as follows. 72% of Americans believe that in a war with creatures from another planet, America would triumph. True or false?
Independence Day, America won.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds, America won.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes, America didn't win. So I think if those documentaries are anything to go by, then 2 out of 3 sounds
I think you know my problem with Independence Day?
What?
They won with a laptop, yeah?
Yeah.
They managed to hack into the alien computer and bring down the spacecraft. I can't get my laptop to interface with the printer. Good luck with finding a SCART league for the ball.
My problem with War of the Worlds was there was no way to stop these aliens, and then suddenly they all just get a cold and they die.
So that's the only way you beat them, though, isn't it? Like in the Triffids, they don't use conventional weapons, it's seawater. And I think the way to obviously beat aliens isn't with, like, normal weapons, is when they come down, lay on a lovely big buffet, right? It's all dodgy prawns, mussels that haven't opened properly, put a bit of chilli in the tiramisu.
I think it's true. I think it's terrifying, but it's true.
I think the
Sorry,
alarming thing
Peter,
about
can I just clarify? Aliens are not coming, they're not on their way. It's just a story. It's like, it's like a what if.
Oh, I see.
It seems like another one of them factoids that points to how dumb Americans are, which I don't have no problem with. 72% of Americans believe that they win in a war against an alien race. What it doesn't say is that 72% of British people believe that a draw would be good enough.
Sean, what do you think, true or false?
What you're saying is, are Americans thick? Yes, they are. Thick as pig shit.
Reg?
I hate being put in a position to defend America, so I won't.
OK, so you're saying that it's true, are you, Sean?
Yeah, I think it's true.
Well, I can tell you that, in fact, it is false.
Oh.
Only 16% of Americans think they would win in a war with creatures from another planet. OK, Dave, let's have a look at a clip to illustrate your statistic.
Hey, that new Superman film looks amazing, doesn't it?
That was the Star Love Dancers there. Here is your related statistic. 55% of women say they've asked a man to dance to try and work out if he'd be good in bed. True or false?
I think it's false. 2 words, Michael Flatley. He can dance, he'd be in bed, wouldn't he?
Why?
He never uses his arms, does he? So there'd be no foreplay, then he'd kick the out of you, wouldn't he?
Do you think it's true? Have you ever pulled anyone who's a good dancer?
No. But I do think if they're a good dancer, they can move their hips. Yeah, I reckon it. Oh, Jimmy, that's so horribly really frightening.
Why do you pull your face, though?
You dance more like you've been hung on some railings.
Yeah, I do, ladies.
It's Virgil from Thunderbirds at a party, relaxing after they've saved the world.
I sit down and I'm brilliant. And the second I get up,
People think you're allergic to music, don't they? You're so bad. He's got a music allergy. Turn it off!
What are you going to go for?
I think it's true.
True,
I think,
I do.
well, men can't dance, generally speaking, and women are judges of men anyway, so...
Well, I can tell you that the answer is true. Yes, 55% of women have asked a man to dance to try and work out if he's good in bed. To be fair, dancing is a good indicator. I tend to dance for about 10 seconds, and then I have a bit of a cry. The next round is Believe It or Not. In this round, I give the panellists a simple statement. All they have to do is decide whether they think it's true or false. Dave, let's have a look at a clip to illustrate your statistic.
There are many modern cults, but only transcendental meditation will teach you to fly.
It's literally doing this and getting up and doing it. An athlete would obviously be able to get further. The lighter you are to the relationship of the power in your legs, the further you will get.
Yogic flying men, here is your related statistic. 36% of Brits think that New Age therapies are utter nonsense. Do you think that's true or false?
I was very skeptical, and then I wasn't feeling well, and they said, try one of those organic coffee enemas. And it worked like $1 million. They threw me out of Starbucks. I can never go back.
But I went to Hong Kong and I was really ill, and I went to a traditional herbalist Chinese shop, and I went in and trying to communicate. I did that stupid thing that we do, and I went, me, sore, sore, shiver. I don't know why, shiver. You have anything for me? He went, night nurse. No.
See, I recently got attuned in Reiki.
Oh, that's channeling.
It's kind of like a healing energy that you are the channel for. And it's really weird because I think it really works.
Sorry, do you want to buy some magic beans?
You can do Reiki as well, can't you?
I used to be a hippie. I've moved on.
What's that? But Jimmy does Reiki? You make her.
Quite right.
What did she look like that was doing the Reiki?
What does she look like?
Yeah, it was like this gorgeous girl doing Reiki over you. Or was that... I think that makes a big difference with a man. If we were both Reiki instructors, who would make you guys feel better? Come on, shut your eyes. Come on, Howie. Shut your eyes so you won't know who does which first. Now, one of us get on one side, one of us going to get on the other side.
Right, you're going to what, heal me?
Which side felt better?
I think the left-hand side felt like it would be slightly more expensive. And the right-hand side felt like if you're on a budget in a hurry, why not? Which side was which?
I was the budget in a hurry. Thanks.
I wish it had gone further, but you were probably thinking of the calories, weren't you? 36% of Brits think New Age therapies are utter nonsense. True or false?
36%. I'd say that's true.
I can tell you the answer is true. Yes, 36% of Brits think New Age therapies are utter nonsense. It's sad that they're so cynical, but it's probably just because their chakras are closed. Sean, Vic and Eamon, let's have a look at a clip to illustrate your statistic.
You may have met a few people who like doing this sort of thing. Nuisance, I agree, but pretty hard. You have certainly seen thousands like this. They're not a nuisance. They're a real danger. Stop it! Come here. What do you think you're up to? You've probably infected thousands of people already. What do you think this is for? Close your eyes. Now, handkerchief, sneeze. Handkerchief, sneeze. See what I mean? That's the idea.
Well, that was a public information film about sneezing etiquette. Here is your related statistic. 71% of people say that British manners are worse than they've ever been. True or false?
Piss off. I tell you what really upsets me is minicab drivers. You phone up for a minicab to come to your house and they hoot the horn outside your house. They don't come and knock. They hoot your horn. And suddenly I just feel like I'm his girlfriend or something. I imagine he's sitting there in his car like that. And I'm thinking, don't hoot, come and get me.
People who knock on the door once.
Yeah. Do you think? Oh, like that?
I can't.
Who does that?
Minicab drivers.
Do they?
If they're not just outside honking the horn, they come in and go. And you go, what is that? There's a pan falling off the sound.
Joan, do you think we've got better manners than the Americans?
Oh, I think so. Once in the last 21 years, a man opened a car door for me. Once. And we were on the motorway at the time. Had it with you, bitch.
71% of people say that British manners are worse than they've ever been. Do you think that's true or false?
Is it true?
I can tell you that the answer is true. Yes, 71% of Brits think that manners have never been worse. The other day, I stood up for a pregnant woman on the bus. Well, I wasn't going to fight her sitting down. I'm going to show you 5 people who are all popular answers on the same poll. All our panellists have to do is tell me, what's the poll? Here is your first person.
Nowadays, everybody can have their own little bit of the Arctic with a home freezer. And there are 2 main kinds. This one, the upright one, has the advantage of not taking up too much floor space. With the second type of freezer, the chest type, this doesn't happen as much, although it does take up a lot more floor space. And I suppose if you're a very small person, you might find it difficult to find things right down at the bottom.
Delia Smith there. What poll do you think she might have appeared in?
This is a poll of the most patronising people in the world.
It's not a poll of the most patronising people in the world, but well done for your guess.
She knows nothing about freezers, that woman.
Yeah.
I know. I got her top tips book, and it says quite clearly that a chicken should keep fresh in a freezer for 6 months. So I put one in on Tuesday. As I look today, it's dead.
Well, it could be people you'd like to cook dinner for you, but you wouldn't want them to eat it with you. Thanks very much. Can you go now?
OK, next person on the poll. Darth Vader there at the premiere of Shrek 2. What poll do you think Delia and Darth might have appeared on?
Is it a poll of women and fictional emperors?
I'll check for you. No.
The thing I always wonder about Darth Vader, if you think about it, like, he's got that, he wears that all the time, doesn't he? So he never gets any sunlight. You'd think he'd have rickets. A bandy-legged fella like that, just going...
I bet George Lucas is feeling pretty stupid right about now.
Is it people who are white but actually have the voice of a short, fat black man? Okay, next up, Joss Stone.
Has Darth Vader got his own range of pasta sauces?
Is it famous asthmatics?
No. Next person.
Tonight, singing live once again, Gary Mullen is Freddie Mercury!
Freddie Mercury there. What poll do you think he might have appeared on with Delia Smith and Darth Vader?
Is it people you'd be quite surprised to find out were your father?
He was gay, Freddie Mercury, but he was in the closet, wasn't he? He only came out the day before he died. And I just thought, really? Who knew?
People really didn't know. People used to say he can't be gay, he's got a moustache.
Yeah. The only people who didn't know probably were my nan and Brian May, I reckon. Brian May would just go, no, not Freddie, surely. But he tried to throw us off the scent with fat-bottom girls, but...
Let's have a look at the next clip.
Oh, excuse me, Ricky. Ricky, I did see what you were doing. It felt good, didn't it? It's all right. We all have feelings like this sometimes. I'm just glad you're doing this in the privacy of your own room. I'll be sure to knock next time, okay?
That's not right. A clip there from a 1975 parental training film to illustrate mothers.
Why didn't she just knock?
Yeah. She said she'd knock next time. She'd made a mistake. She'd learnt from it.
Right. Did she say that?
Yeah.
You absorbed that whole film. Shame it's not the Krypton factor. We'd get loads of points. Surely she should have checked. You know, he might have been building an Airfix kit.
What's worse is if you've been doing it to something on the telly and fallen asleep, when you wake up, she's put a cup of tea there.
Surely, Dave, if your mum put a cup of tea down, you'd hear the cup rattling.
So, Delia, Darth Vader, Freddie Mercury and mothers. What's the poll?
Is this people who have no idea how to communicate in a pleasant way?
I thought Freddie's voice touched millions of people.
Actually, apart from him, who's
Well,
the
you
other
can't
one
have a poll apart from someone, can you? He's the whole object of the game.
It's to do with something that you don't tell anyone.
Secrets.
It's to do with your computer.
Passwords.
Correct.
Oh.
Yes, they've all appeared on a list of the most popular names used for computer passwords. Number 1 on the list was Gandalf. That's tough to crack, isn't it? Right, he's a computer geek, he lives alone. Let's try Gandalf. What's Klingon for Gandalf? We're in. The average person is capable of making more than 1,000 facial expressions. And this is the one I made when I heard that statistic. KFC is the most popular fast food restaurant in China. You would have thought it would have been a Chinese. 55% of men wash their hands after going to the loo. What I do, and here's a tip for you, is I wash my winky in the morning and then I'm good for the rest of the day. Right, let's get started. Sean?
Well, I think definitely been talking about bird flu, the approach of bird flu that's coming to us. People are very worried about it, aren't they?
My mum panics because she reads all this stuff and she phoned up last week because she thought her budgie had got it, Sooty. She's got a budgie. And apparently he was just in the corner of the cage shivering and won't go up its ladder. And he loves going up his ladder, Sooty. He loves it. What happened was, turned out the grandkids had been getting him out of the cage and holding him over a globe of the world and spinning it down, and it just freaked him out. I'm too high! I'm too high!
Bird flu. Bird flu. Horse run.
The government says don't panic. Says don't panic. If it gets into a stress situation, just move them all inside. But that's where we are.
I don't think the chickens are too bothered, really, because compared to what the farmers got in store for them, flu's a bit of a holiday, really, isn't it? If I was a chicken, I'd be snogging other chickens trying to catch them.
They've been talking about 20 million people might die if the bird flu kicks off.
We're all right, we're blokes, aren't we?
Someone had to say it, Vic, and I'm glad it was you.
See what I've done there? Yeah, it's just the birds who are going to get it, isn't it?
If only, Vic. And then me and you could just run off together into the sunset.
Like we did last week.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look and see whether avian bird flu is one of the top 5 most talked about things this week. Yes, it is. Yes, the second most talked about thing this week was bird flu. The deadly H5N1 virus is close to Britain. Coincidentally, H5N1 is Bernard Matthews' postcode. Richard, Neil, Dave, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Wembley's not finished. Fuck off, really.
Yeah. Big shock.
Belt surprise. I was looking at some sort of report on it. It said that it's going to have 2,000 toilets. Wembley's going to have 2,000. And there's your delay. Waiting for the plumber, aren't they?
I thought, actually, that one of the problems is a language problem, isn't it, with the Australian builders, because they used to have the rising inflection. And when they finish a sentence, they rise up as if it's a question. So I think when they say, like, tomorrow you'll start work at 8, the blokes go, that probably means about 10:30, doesn't it?
I just like the part that they were bollocking them for doing coke. I wouldn't make them do it, just make it do it all faster.
That's the answer, Kelly. People haven't been brave enough to say it, but drugs are what these builders need.
Think of what you could build with 750 million. You could have a ladder to the moon for one.
For £1?
Well, that's better than having a big stadium, isn't it? You know, a ladder to the moon.
Yes, but if you could deliver Vic, I'd invest.
I've got 750 million to play with. I could have a pipe that goes down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench that you could slide down and get fired out the other side.
You're right, Vic, we haven't thought this through. A ladder to the moon.
Said like that, it sounds a lot more impressive.
A ladder to the moon. Yes, Mr. Bond. They built the biggest water slide in the world. Right, let's have a look and see whether Wembley is one of the most talked about things this week.
Of course it is.
Yes, it was. 35% of you were talking about the fact that Wembley Stadium will not be ready for this year's FA Cup final. The delays have thrown the fixtures list into chaos. Chelsea will now be playing Bon Jovi in the Charity Shield. 31% of American men would abandon their partner in favour of their own safety. Is that true or is it false?
We now think it's false.
You are right, it is false. 7% of US men would abandon a loved one if attacked by a bear. Never mind a bear, I nearly left my girlfriend when that whale came up the Thames. Our next round is face-off. Our teams have 6 well-known faces in front of them. Jesus, George W. Bush, Charlotte Church, Siegfried and Roy, the Queen and Spider-Man. We ask the British public to rank these people in a series of questions. All our teams have to do is guess who came top. Dave, Sean, Patrick and Janet, who would you choose to make your best man speech?
Spider-Man, not for the speech, for the entrance. Wouldn't want Jesus as your best man, because the stag night would be shit, wouldn't it?
How's he going to go on with a ring?
Sean, who do you think the public would choose to do their best man speech?
Spider-Man.
I think he'd be good, Spider-Man. He'd be a better best man than an usher, you know, when you're showing people bride or groom, that's... Sorry. Who's the bride's father? Like that.
The thing with Spider-Man is, like, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, all the fancy powers. What happened with Elephant Man? What were all that about? Get that one. They didn't even have a cape.
OK, who would you choose to do your best man speech? Dave?
We're going to go for Bush, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that George W. Bush got 10% of the vote.
10%?
Spider-Man got 28%.
We should have gone for Jesus.
But Jesus was the number one answer, so Sean gets the points there. Yes, the top answer there was Jesus. He would, of course, tell the parable of the humble fisherman who got arseholed in Amsterdam and woke up handcuffed to a hooker. OK, Sean, who would be the best guest on Trisha?
Who's the fattest?
Okay, what happens on Trisha?
You've never seen the show?
To be fair, I've seen a bit of it, but I was cycling past a shop at the time. It was just gone.
It's a chat show where people talk about their problems, and while we're at it, what is it that you do?
I can't believe there's a row and Janet isn't involved.
I think where you go wrong with Trisha is... Sorry. When it comes on, you put, like, across the bottom what the programme's all about. Now, if it's not my daughter wants to be a stripper, it gets flicked off.
Who would be the best guest on Trisha? What do you think, Sean?
Charlotte Church.
Oh.
Why is that?
Just read the papers, my friend. It's all there.
So you've gone for Charlotte Church?
Yeah.
OK. Yep. Who are you going to go for?
Jesus. Well, I never knew my father.
Queen would be pretty good.
Dysfunctional family,
yeah. That would be a series in itself.
Well, there is a rumour going around that the Queen can fire ping pong balls out of her fanny. There is. Isn't there? If it's the Trisha show I've been watching.
OK, so you've gone for the Queen, you went for Charlotte Church. I can tell you Charlotte Church got 25% of the vote. Ooh. But the Queen was the top answer with 39% of the vote. Presumably, the headline would be, "Help me, Tricia, my son married a horse." Did you know, for example, snails can sleep for 3 years without eating? Of course, at the end of it, they are dead. 200 babies are born worldwide every minute, so if you've just had a baby, whatever, you have a 1 in 10 million chance of being killed by a champagne cork. Good news, let's celebrate. Let's get started. So, Sean's team, what have the nation been talking about this week?
George Michael, surely.
He was found slumped at Marble Arch roundabout. And to be fair to him, that is a very tough roundabout to get off. I've been at that roundabout just going, oh, sod this, sod. But I think in some ways it's a metaphorical roundabout for him. One way, it's to go back to his clean-cut pop image. Another way is to carry on having sex in toilets with strangers, taking loads of drugs. And then the other way is Edgware Road. But the thing I thought was funny was they said they found some sex toys in his boot. And I thought, that's probably jump leads.
Apparently, though, you know, when they opened up the boot and found the sex toys, the gimp mask and the gay porn, he said he was off to a Lib Dem fundraiser on Hampstead Heath.
He slumped unconscious at the wheel and they couldn't rouse him.
They couldn't rouse him?
They couldn't rouse him.
If that happens, have a cuddle and then try again in half an hour.
I mean, he's sort of following the Pete Doherty school of driving, which is just get in a car and just get nicked. I don't know who the hell insures Pete Doherty. How does he get car insurance?
Well, he said to the police, he said, I'm not that much of a junkie anyway, didn't he? Maybe that's how he got car insurance. Not too much of a junkie.
But the other weird thing about Pete Doherty is he's the fattest heroin addict in the world. What's he cutting it with? Utterly butterly? Right, well, let's have a look and see whether George Michael is in our top 5 most talked about things. Yes, it is. People were talking about George Michael's drug bust. George Michael couldn't believe his luck when a man in uniform walked up to his car, knocked on the window and said, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind blowing into this?" George Michael spent yesterday caged in handcuffs and leather restraints, being brutalised by a police truncheon. He's relaxing at home. Dave, over to you. What else have the nation been talking about?
Is it that Lib Dem man? They've got a leader now, haven't they? Ming Campbell. But the thing that gets me is why does he call himself Ming when it's Menzies? And he said that because it's Menzies, it's M-E-N-Z-I-S, and he said, oh, in the Celtic language, we don't mention the Z. I'm thinking, well, you're in the English language now. I didn't know we could make our own language up. Do you know what I mean? It's like me saying, oh, well, I'm going to add an E on it and call him Minge.
When Ming Campbell was announced as the new leader, Charles Kennedy was the first to toast the news. Although, to be honest, that was just a happy coincidence. Welcome back to 8 out of 10 Cats. Our next round is word association. We've polled the nation and asked people to give us the word or phrase that popped into their heads when we said the following things. OK, everyone, here's your first clip.
And here comes Alan Collier from Doncaster. His hobbies include Taekwondo, which is a form of the martial arts, a bit like karate. You do not argue with Alan Collier.
That was Alan Collier, winner of the 1980 Yorkshire Disco Dance Championships. What I'm looking for is the top 3 things the British public said when we said the 1980s.
Can I just say, isn't television shit nowadays? If that was on every channel, 24 hours a day, I'd have square eyes.
I'd like to have him in a snow shaker. just constantly dancing like that.
What must his life have been like in Yorkshire? The locals must have constantly been laying siege to his house like the end of Frankenstein or something. Kill the disco dancer.
He's just great, isn't he, Alan Collier?
Can we watch it again?
That's all right. Have another look.
And here comes Alan Collier from Doncaster. You do not argue with Alan Collier.
Not only do you not argue with Alan Collier, you don't talk to him.
Had he just come from the pits when he dressed like that? Do you reckon he talked like that? And he was like, now, zip.
Is this why they started closing down the mines? Because this is what they were getting up to.
Top 3 answers that the public most associated with the 1980s.
Orgies. Thatcher.
Yes, it is. Second most commonly associated phrase with the word or phrase with the 1980s. Aha! Do you mean the band, or have you just thought of something brilliant?
The band. Or, as they're known in more curious countries, aha.
I can't decide if it's Fame the Musical or the Iranian embassy siege.
You were quite close with Fame.
Leroy.
Leg warmers.
Leg warmers. Yes, it was.
Wow.
You've still got to get the most commonly associated word with the 1980s.
The mullet. The mullets were big, weren't they?
I am going to give you that. Yes, the phrase most associated with the 1980s was bad hair. OK, here's your next one. That was, of course, the world-famous water-skiing monkeys of Japan to illustrate the word animals. Fingers on buzzers, what word or phrase did the nation most associate with animals?
You think they would have put those monkeys on those inflatable bananas? It would have looked more...
I think this is the new Neverland. Jackson's latest project.
The thing is, they wouldn't do it if they didn't like it.
Exactly.
They love it.
Yeah.
They've got the option to bail out and have a swim.
Well, since the PG Tips work dried up, you know, they're all working as reps now. I just don't know how a monkey is driving a speedboat. Because you can't trust a monkey. You can train it, you can never trust it.
Yeah. You speak from bitter experience,
Yes,
I imagine.
I do.
If they can send a monkey into space, surely this is nothing. Surely this is a step down for the boys.
It's just the monkeys at NASA pissing about on the day off.
They're having a bit of me time.
When we said animals, what do you think popped into the British public's minds?
Shagging. When I was a kid, dogs on our street, you couldn't go out in the street. They were just doing it, weren't they? Just pushing each other up and down the street. My mum told me they were dancing.
That story is both quaint and disgusting.
It is. And very unsettling, because the first school disco I went to, I got expelled. Super furry.
The number one answer was fur. OK, what other word would you associate with animals? You're absolutely right.
That never happened on Family Fortunes, did it?
What other word would you associate with animals? What are they? They're lovely.
Adorable.
Adorable is along the right line.
Lovable.
Friendly.
Cute.
Cuddly.
Cute. Who said cute? You were right. Did you know, for example, 14% of cat owners think their cat is more important than their job? And the thing is, if they think that, they're probably right. Most deaths in hospitals are between the hours of 3 and 4 in the afternoon. All I'm saying is, it's only a countdown conundrum. Don't have a stroke about it. And the average man will spend 2,965 hours shaving during his lifetime. It's the bit round the balls that takes the time. Let's get started. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the public's top 5 most popular talking points. Christian, Sean and Les, what have the nation been talking about this week?
I think definitely the ongoing Tessa Jowell story. She's left her husband now, or separated from him.
Yeah, I think you can be a bit hard on Tessa Jowell, though, because, I mean, the point is that she didn't know about the gift, and she didn't know that her mortgage had been paid off, and she didn't actually know she was married to David Mills until she read about it in the Sunday Times.
The thing is that, I mean, some people say that did they split up genuinely, or was it an attempt to save her career? Apparently, what really tipped the balance was when she found out for the last 10 years he hasn't been sending off the pools coupons. He's been pocketing the money.
He's obsessed with money, isn't he? Because he's married a woman called Tessa.
Let's do this!
Aren't we asking quite a lot of our politicians to actually notice £350,000 in their bank account?
For some of us, it's a lot of money. Channel 4 News, they paid a big bucks.
But as relationship blunders go, it's quite serious, isn't it? It's not like he's come home pissed and had a slash in the wardrobe.
Sean?
You know, you could get over that. He's ruined her career. You know, that's quite a serious thing to do, isn't it? Ruin someone's career. You can't make that up with, you know, breakfast in bed.
Politicians ruin their own careers by going on Big Brother.
Would you like me to be the cat?
Yeah, okay.
Tonight's going to be a very different kind of 8 out of 10 cats. Did you like the fellow? Did you like George Galloway?
At first, I thought he was like really crafty, he had like shifty eyes and everything, but he completely changed my mind about him by cheating and lying, and then I realised that from my gut instinct he was a very horrible man. And do you know what?
So sorry, at first you thought he had shifty eyes, and then you realised he was horrible. He really changed your mind, yeah, didn't he?
I realised he was horrible, then I realised that he was actually all right, but he weren't all right, because he turned out that he was actually horrible.
When someone changes your mind, you've got to end up in a different place than when you started. That's the whole nature of changing one's mind.
Do you know what the funny thing is? I was on a shoot today, right, and I come out, right, on... no, not
I'm living the dream.
I am living the dream. No, right, I am living the dream, but I walked out, right, on a street, a London street, with no one else around, and who do I bump into?
Was it Batman?
No, George Galloway.
Yeah, because he's following you. Was he in the back of a van with some binoculars? Oh, what a coincidence, Chantal.
How was it when you bumped into George, then? Did you...
It was just, he asked me how my nan was, which was the first question that came out of his mouth.
How was your nan?
My nan's fine.
Are you sure that isn't just a slang expression he uses?
How's your nan?
There's some place they call it a pitter.
Well, let's have a look if Tessa Jowell is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, it is. 12% of British men admit having been reduced to tears during a shopping trip. True or false?
I only cried once, and it's when I went to DFS and bought a sofa full price.
The one day of the year.
I've been very upset by stuff I've bought. I fell out with this girlfriend of mine because you know, she's getting really upset because she thinks there's a big difference between, like, semi-skimmed and banana-flavoured milk.
12% of British men admit having been reduced to tears during a shopping trip. True or false? What do you think?
We all think it's true.
You think it's true? Well, I'm afraid you're wrong. Actually, just 3% of men have broken down and cried during a shopping trip. In their defence, they were shopping for their wife's coffin. It's the one she would have wanted. What, the first one you saw? Yeah. Sean, over to you. What do you think people have been talking about this week?
What about Mike Tyson giving up boxing to become a wedding planner?
Would you get most of your news from Take a Break magazine?
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you know when they reported it to Evander Holyfield? They went to him and said, Tyson's given up, and he went, no. He said, yeah, he's actually given up, and he went, I can't believe me ear.
I can tell you it wasn't in the top 5, it was the 19th most talked about thing this week. Mike Tyson has announced this week that he wants to quit boxing. He said that he wants to become a Christian missionary, though when asked to make the sign of the cross, he said, Arr. OK, you've got 3 more to get. Fingers on buzzers.
Prince Harry at Sandhurst.
Yeah, so this is the story of a Sun journalist breaking into Sandhurst with a fake bomb.
But the thing is, they're always doing this, aren't they? The tabloids, the Sun and the Mirror, they're constantly, like, you know, trying to breach security arrangements. And I imagine every time Al Qaeda read it, they just go, I wish we'd thought of that.
Claudia, are you worried about Harry's safety?
Yes. I was undecided. It was 50... Well, yes, a little. Well, I think...
You haven't thought about it, have you?
No.
He said they took a fake bomb in there, which basically is anything, isn't it? You know, a brush is a fake bomb, isn't it?
Well, let's have a look and see if this was one of the most talked about things this week.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it was. This is the story of a Sun journalist who smuggled a fake bomb into Sandhurst. Harry was initially excited. He thought they'd smuggled in a bong.
Is it the story about people trying to sell the ticket touts trying to sell on eBay the Live 8 tickets? Because I was disgusted by that, as everybody was.
What did you bid?
I wouldn't bid, honestly. I was disgusted. Like, Bob Geldof said boycott it for a week. But they backtracked, so I didn't bother. But at one point, I was going to get me snuff movies and me ivory chess set from somewhere else. And then...
When you say a snuff movie, it's some old bloke going...
Yeah. Just going, bloody weather.
Let's have a look and see whether the Live 8 eBay ticket fiasco was one of our most talked about stories.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's the second most talked about thing this week. You've got one more to guess.
Is it by any chance the world debt? The fact
Tell
that
me
they're
more.
going to reduce the world debt. The Western world is going to reduce the African debt, and it's going to work out to about £1 per person per year, right? Which I thought, that's quite good, isn't it? £1. I'm quite happy to give that to solve. But then they said, for 10 years. I was thinking, that's £10, isn't it?
Oh, how tight are the Northerns? Oh.
How pompous are the Southerners?
Not very pompous at all. Well, shall we have a look and see whether the debt cancellation is one of our top 5 talked about stories? Yes, I can tell you that the G8 leaders have pledged to drop $40 billion worth of debt. Well, they haven't actually cancelled the debt. What they've done is they've consolidated it into one easy monthly payment. Rwanda gets a charming carriage clock. And don't worry, Chad, no salesman will call.
I hope you enjoyed those clips. If you want to watch full episodes of 8 out of 10 Cats, then you can on my YouTube channel. Just, search for it on YouTube and you'll find it, because it's there.